Hey everyone, great to see everyone. Oh my goodness, thank you so much, Shannon, for accommodating me in Gaia's Zoom room. And Jimena, Joan, Marco, great to see you all. And so we're going to do kind of a little kind of a wrap up because I've been working hard the last few days on writing up a really long email and an index and everything of related to the last press conference. And I've undertaken that as a very solitary sort of exercise, because after all the connection and everything, you're talking with everyone during the press conference for 9.5 hours straight. At the end, you almost kind of need to take a little break from so much conversation and connection, right? And so I just wanted to offer some thoughts and hear all of your thoughts as we, kind of reflect back on the press conference, but more importantly, look forward, because I'd love to see this become something that we do every month, and that it grow and grow and grow to the point that it's not just one Zoom room broadcasting to the world, but a whole network of conversations simulcasting to the world. And some of which will have hundreds of thousands of viewers live in real time. Others will have just a handful, if any, right? And people can hop from room to room and all that. So it becomes, really, it becomes a dimensional enhancement on the press conference itself. And I've been long positing that once we get into the thousands of people at a particular event, right? Let's just rough numbers. Let's say we had 8,000 people, 1,000 conversations, right? 8 people per conversation on average. Can you imagine what we could cover? And, and let's say that we're talking about climate and global warming and this and that, and some fine point is brought up. Well, I thought this. Well, I thought that. Okay, great. Why don't you get a room, a breakout room or something, and go hash it out, and that becomes a broadcast thing that other people can listen to and jump in on. And I mean, if it's important, let's put people on it, and let's have conversations, plural, about it. 1,000 conversations, you can span quite a bit, right? So we're putting out a challenge to Umair, a very benevolent challenge. Umair, help us put out the clarion call, because once we get to 8,000, you have 1,000 conversations, just this whole taxonomy of conversations that are broadcast, transcribed, and the transcripts are indexed in real time. This is kind of geek talk, right? But what that means is you'll be able to then search for and immediately get answers based on what people are, you can do queries for the whole 1,000. Who's talking about global warming, right? Who's talking about totalitarianism? Who's talking about feeding people, and you'll be able to just cruise from room to room. Anyway, that's the big vision of this network of conversations. And as a whole, that network becomes a collective superintelligence once it hits a certain threshold. And I think it's going to be exponential, because when you hear about this thing, it's like you're jumping into the coolest party on earth, basically, with 1,000 rooms, right? I mean, how cool is that? Go find your bliss. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, now to get there from here, one vector is the press conference. There are many other vectors, right? And let's find a way that we can do this together, that it's not, owned and controlled by any one, whatever. That it can be something that you just like download an app or something very simple, or go to a web page and simply, just like, for example, this meeting right now, we could broadcast it with a couple of clicks amount. I'm not suggesting we do that, by the way, but we could. We are recording it. Transcription is a flip of a button, and indexing in real time, we'll have to figure that one out, but I'm sure there's a solution for it. But the bottom line is we can just do this in a very organic way and have some sort of just like, public bulletin board where we post, these are the participating conversations, right? So you don't have to go through some bottleneck and someone else's process or whatever. Anyway, these are just thoughts, but how do we do this in kind of an open source, organic way, right? I don't know, but you know what? We can figure it out at the press conference. And as more and more people come in, it can just be like mitosis. It can just be a very natural, organic, multiplication of Zoom rooms and breakout rooms, right? And then it just becomes this expanding thing. And in the end, this expansion, as you exponentiate it, it becomes humanity coming together in a single network of conversations. And this is key, okay, that self-identifies as a whole. What are we doing right now? We've got a whole bunch of us versus them. Oh, those Republicans. Oh, those Trump supporters. Oh, those anti-vaxxers. Oh, da, 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 da. It's us versus them all over the place, right? And so, and we don't self-identify as this wonderful thing, right, that we're becoming. There's going to be a moment of like collective consciousness, when the fetus first realizes it's a thing, right? Imagine that happening, but for the collective. I mean, where else is it going to happen? At some rock concert? It's going to happen in the network of conversations with this intentionality of all of us coming together to solve our problems, right? And then within that network of conversations, there can be some very bright spots, like, drum roll, the boops. Boop, 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 boom, 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 the boops. We've finally mastered this mysterious thing called climate change. It boils down to something really simple. It's all about the boops, and check it out, right? So we got the boops. We've got feed everyone, right? Plant-based foods. We've got a new story for humanity. The boops is all about cooling the planet. Cool the planet, feed everyone, create a new story, right? And this whole thing of collective intelligence itself, right? The water that we fish are swimming in, right? We talk about that too, right? So we've got these just amazingly hot topics that can bring in so many people, and that, the whole idea is that we're co-evolving all of these solutions and this whole transformation, all of us together holistically, as this exponentially growing collective super intelligence. What could be cooler? Anyway, I passed the talking feather, and thank you all for listening.
Thank you so much, Jamin. I want to jump in here because what you are describing is very much in line with the vision that I had of the OGs network, Our Heart Gardens, OGs, network of people in gardens, in repurposed buildings, in communities everywhere. And we, of course, will have gatherings like this, but in real time and real place. And then we connect with people like this in this room. And it is naturally occurring. And if we can just breathe into this and allow it to happen, it's going to happen. My belief. And in January of 2020, I wrote a poem that talked about drum circles that would happen around the world and that would make people wonder what's going on. Well, what's going on is the one is beginning to talk to itself, the one we are. And so, Jamin, thank you very much for following your bliss, your divine guidance, because it's happening all around the world. I'm so glad to be a part of it. Thank you so much, Jamin. And I put the talking feather back in. Thank you so much. Oh, okay. All right. I'm taking it back. So I've got the Global Drum Gathering that is coming up, and I started talking about my guidance. Well, I spoke that poem into Humanity Rising on the first anniversary that Jim Garrison accepted so many accolades that day. And in that day, I got to share this poem. And I still didn't know how this global drum or this drum thing would happen. And then on August 8th, the Global Drum Gathering happened through Facebook. And I told them about this writing that I had, and it inspired Joan, Blue Cosmic Eagle here in the room, she and I got inspired by the 8-8, and she loves double numbers, so we played with 9 9 10 10 11 11 12 12. We went crazy, and then we brought it back down again. Well, that's a little crazy, but 11 11, that's Remembrance Day, that's Veterans Day, that's when we remember our dead. And it has progressed now. Let us, through intentional change, let us change that to let us remember our past, our present, and our future. And that's what's going to happen. We're going to take a pause on November 11th on Humanity Rising and around the world at 11:11 in every time zone. We're going to take a minute of silence, bracketed by drums. And that moment, that minute of silence, will honor all of humanity, the one we are, our past, our present, and our future. The next 7 generations and onward. Yeah. Thank you, Jamin, for giving a place to speak about these amazing things that are happening all around the world. And thank you, Mother Earth, for giving us a reason to come together. This is the hard part. It's also the fun part. Yeah. Thank you for listening.
I'd love to share something. I just saw a movie that is called Arrival, and it is when our star family come to meet us in the earth, and they said that they were going to give a gift to humanity. And I'm not going to tell the plot of the movie or anything or the end, but while the movie develops, they discover that unity is the only way to like get out and build a new world and start a new confrontation about things and yes, and understanding beyond our little minds that we need to be together. And it's so beautiful. I highly recommend it. And it is exactly what we are doing, what we started 1 year ago. And I am very proud of ourselves and sharing our times and our hearts and our minds and whatever we can, because we understood the message. We didn't need the aliens to come to kind of conquer us or give us a big lesson in order to understand that we need to be together. And 2 things I'm taking in my heart. One was this veteran guy who came to tell about how to do service and how to cooperate, right? because we need to start changing paradigm and prejudices, because the Remembrance Day, as you say, is very important to be in touch with that part of our ancestors and the people that fought before us to have the civilization that we have right now. And each civilization has their wars and their controversies and their confrontations. So we need to also honor the people that was in war, and not only judge them, not only be harsh on them, because they had already got like a very hard life and they sacrificed for other means and other purposes, because war is not like something useful at all, but they were there, so we need to honor and respect them. And what I liked the most was that there is hope always. Like that's the first how do you say, like the when you see in a newspaper the encabezado,
Headline.
the headline, yeah, hope is the headline. And we are trying not to be depressed about the situation, but doing something about it. And that is what we need to take into account, that we are working on it in our minds, in our hearts, manifesting it daily, because that's the important thing to do, and sharing that we all need to be together. It's time for, you told about vaccines, Jamin. Vaccines are dividing us somehow. Now you cannot go on a trip if you don't have Pfizer, or if you don't have Moderna, or if you don't have whatever. And this is a new kind of racism or
Discrimination.
and disconnection. And we need to connect. We don't need disconnection. So these are things we need to talk about. It's not only receiving a vaccine or whatever, it's what we are doing to the world. More borders, more wars, more counter interests, and this is not working. We have proof that this is not working at all. So we need to be together, and I'm so happy that we're building that, all of us together here. And thank you for each of your hearts and minds and contributions.
I had a thought, just something that Jimena said earlier, but that not only the press conference being people talking about what they want to do, but maybe even classes. Like if someone were wanting to do a class in pranic healing, to help people get started in doing the things that they want to do, they want to learn, they want to do to help. I think that would be a good part of the press conference.
I love it, Blue Cosmic Eagle, because, for example, if I'm having a conversation with someone about climate change, but they're not even at, say a middle school level understanding of it, it's a huge disconnect, right? And basically what I really want to do is I've been kind of dreaming of this kind of thing off and on, so I'm really glad you raised it, is have like a whole curriculum for getting up to the postdoc level. Hey, you want to have a postdoc conversation? Well, have you, checked these check marks? And we'll have classes for each one, right? And we'll have study hall, where you can ask anything, right? And really, and it'll be filled with people who love to teach and who love to explain things. And those people exist. I'm one of them, right?
Yeah.
And and then by default, every recording becomes, an asset, right? Whether some undercurrent was surfaced that hadn't been quite identified yet, and now we've got something more to deal with, right? Some people see that as a gift. others as, more homework, right? But the thing is, the big idea, I mean, there'll be so many thousands and eventually tens of thousands of conversations in parallel, hyper connected, right? That no one of us can keep track of even 1% of what the heck's going on. But that's not the idea. The whole idea is that the collective, the hive mind, the all of us, the one, as Shannon puts it, grapples with everything as one giant. And here's the thing, it's one collective. There's one. There's not like 27 ones. There's one that has a bunch of facets. Okay. One of those facets is collective intelligence. And I geek out a lot on collective intelligence, and one could get the mistaken impression that that's all I care about is the information and the intelligence and solutions. It's not true, but it is an area that I'm passionate about because we're like almost there. And that will also help inform many of the other areas. It's kind of like the head leading the being versus what? The finger, the toe. Anyway, with that, I pass the talking feather. Thank you so much. I love this conversation.
Oh, as much as I love it, Jamin, I have to say, I have to go. I love you so much. And I love you all. Thank you so much for being here. And yeah, we shall see you soon.
Love you, Shannon, sister.
That's.
See you soon.
Bye, Shannon.
Bye.
Bye, Shannon. Bye, John.
Bye.
Bye. You
See you,
too.
John.
Well,
Have a great night.
Marco.
Oh,
Be
you're
well.
going to, Joan? Yep.
Hey, all right. After a pause, I just want to bring up and get really crisp and clear about something that, I know that the global coming together is happening, right? I question whether it's happening fast enough, right? In the sense that we don't yet have a collective superintelligence, which we could have, right? And that collective superintelligence, for its part, will help us come together, right? Because that's its whole mission, is togetherness, unity, and together saving, healing, and transforming life on earth. I mean, it couldn't be more benevolent, couldn't be more pure and simple, right? And so, and I know a lot of us share that intention. And so my message to all of us is, okay, if we share the intention, let's get together and do it, right? So I want to proclaim my intention that we have 8,000 people at the next press conference, and that those who wish to can break out into breakout rooms, right?
That sounds like a tall order, but it's such a small part of humanity.
It's 1 in a million. 8,000 of us is 1 in a million. It only takes 1 in a million of us, right, to say, yes, I'm in. I'm willing to give it a try, right? And if someone else can figure out a better venue for bringing together 8,000 of us, please let us know, and we'll join you over there. But it has to be with the intention of creating this network of conversations that's hyper-connected in the ways that we talk about: recording, broadcasting, transcription, real-time indexing, and then all kinds of essentially search capabilities, right? Using benevolent bots, see, Bot Hub. But anyway, we don't have to have bots. Bots is, let's table that one for now, but just with good old software, right? For search and pattern matching and things like that. As well as messaging systems, messages passed between conversations, because, we want to continue our conversation. And from time to time, just like we might look in the chat, see messages from other conversations, things like that. So that's what I'm talking about with hyper-connected, thus creating a massive collective intelligence, the likes of which has never happened before. The closest thing I'd say would probably be the Forum in ancient Greece, where everything was transparent, everything was open. And if some conversation started getting really passionate, more and more people would come, and they'd come first to find out what's all the commotion about, right? And then so that's probably, but this is like the Forum, but on a planetary scale. What are we waiting for? It only takes 1 in a million of us to have 8,000 of us, say, on the order of 1,000 conversations, give or take a few hundred, I don't care, but say on the order of 1,000 conversations with, on average, 8 people each, really digging in and self-identifying as a network.
I see, some people get turned off, when you talk a lot about collective intelligence. It sounds, cold or too impersonal, but all it really is community. Community is collective intelligence, and it's just now we have some technology that lets us have a community of people from separate continents can be a community and do things together, despite the distance. So collective intelligence is community, and the press conference was a perfect example of how collective intelligence and community works to the benefit of everybody. The fact that I was knocked out by storms and no power and no internet and everything, it still went on because my other part of me, my inner Jamin, was there to carry it forward for everybody. So beautiful job.
Thank you. No, and I could feel the love and support. So thank you. And couldn't have done it without you, Marco. Could not have done it without you.
I appreciate that. We all had something to do, some part to play, and we're the being there for each other is that we can do it on this scale with this distance is amazing.
Yeah. I mean, Vince was co-hosting from Prague, right? So anyway, yeah, no, it's totally doable. So what I'm really putting out a clarion call now, as for me, the final point of all of this is, let's continue to do this, but way bigger, and in fact growing exponentially, with the intention of manifesting collective superintelligence. Period. Full stop. Right? So if you're interested in that, just show up. Sign up for the next press conference. Actually sign up and speak for a couple of minutes or a few minutes, or whatever you want within reason, and we'll refine what those numbers need to be in terms of minutes, but you'll have your opportunity to make your point loud and clear, and with as many words as you need within reason, and everyone will get to hear you. See, that's collective intelligence right there. And then mitosis, we divide, not divide in the old sense, but really multiply, right?
Yeah.
And form a network of conversations, right? And with all the hyperconnectivity that I like to geek out about, we will really be like one giant brain with 8,000 really dialed in human beings who have all swallowed the right color pill to say, bing, I'm part of the hive mind. Once we have 8,000 of us intentionally doing that through conversation, right? Which is very different from, a few million people all around the world meditating, at the same time. That's different. This is a different, I'm not saying this is better, Far from it. I'm saying this is different. We need all these different, you know, facets, aspects, parts, components of the collective, the greater collective, including all the meditation and everything else, right? But conversation, we have yet to achieve, you know, a network of conversations at scale since the forum, right? And that's pretty profound. A network of conversations that's simultaneous, right? And has a shared intention, which is the common good, right? So, and the fact that we're going to be able to do this with an exponentially growing number of people from 8,000, I don't think even a month will go by until we get to 80,000, because basically all the people who are dialed in and basically get what we're saying but hadn't heard about it yet, they get to hear about it. It becomes a thing because it's all recorded. So suddenly you've got a gazillion hours of, you know, fresh new recordings, right? I mean, if we're going to max out on it. Now, I also believe in having safe spaces, rooms that are not recorded. We're recording right now by mutual consent, collective consent. But let there be rooms where, hey, we agree to not record. We're here just to share. Great. That's all part of the network. It's a safe place. You know, even I like to go to such places from time to time, believe it or not, though I do love to record, you know, and broadcast, because it's helping us build that muscle every time someone broadcasts and records, you know. So anyway, what I'm saying is, let's go in with the intention of exponentially growing this thing and building a collective super intelligence of basically the most radical, dialed in, geeked out in a really good way, and with love for all of life on earth and for each other, right? Coming together for the common good. What could be cooler? What could be more appealing? What could be more attractive? What could be more fun? Can you imagine showing up and there's 8,000 of us, right? So let's get to 8,000 together, because once we crack 8,000, then it's a thing. It'll go to 80,000 within a month, and probably 800,000 within a month after that. I mean, by the time it gets to 8 million, and it will get to 8 million, believe it or not. Can you imagine the size of that brain? 8 million is only 1 in 1,000 of us, right? I mean, I used to do a lot of work in Mexico in rural areas when I was in high school and college and grad school. And I would go to villages as small as, 100 people, right? There was always minimum 2 or 3 people, no matter how small the village, who were totally dialed in. So 1 in 1,000. Just imagine a high school with 1,000 people. There's minimum a handful of people there who are totally dialed in, right? So 1 in 1,000 is not going to be that hard, because basically word's going to go out that, hey, listen, if you are all about saving, healing, and transforming life on earth, and you get the power of collective intelligence, they're doing it. And it's just this mushrooming thing, right? And we'll get it up on the blockchain. It'll be unmessable with, right? And it'll be growing like wildfire. And we're unleashing a whole new force, right? A benevolent force. And the collective will ensure that that integrity is maintained, just like we've always done in the conversation. Not saying that the conversation is perfect, but anyway, I say my bottom line thesis is that we intentionally strive for this. We don't just satisfy ourselves with, oh, there's this coming together, it's all happening kind of organically, like, get out of its way and let it be. I'm saying no, we need to intentionally co-create this. 8,000 people don't all just show up on a Saturday morning, just spontaneously, right? And we need the right 8,000 people, right? And so we need to put out the message of saving, healing, and transforming life on earth, leveraging the collective. One facet of the collective is collective intelligence. Of course, there are myriad other facets. So I'm not saying it's the end all be all, but I am saying let's do it in a way that has significant scale and that will explode in terms of numbers of participants from there. I mean, can you see the thing not exploding once we hit 8,000?
No,
Huh?
that's, no, when things go exponential like that, there's really no limit.
That's right. But I mean, there was a moment when the first 8,000 people had cell phones, right? And, half of them were in Manhattan and London. And so there was a critical mass. We need critical mass. 8,000 of us is beyond critical mass. I think by the time there's a few hundred of us jamming like this together, it's going to be quite a thing, right?
Yeah. It's all rolling around in my head right now, and my head's excited.
Well, yeah. I mean, so anyway, let's round up all the folks who are excited about this, who get it, and get that we're getting very close to it. And with every press conference from this point forward, it's going to be a giant leap in our evolution. And I think we're going to hit the number 8,000 very, very soon, especially with bringing in Dirumer. And also with the boops. Now we got the boops, right? We got some really cool memeage.
Such a, it's just the having it explained that way makes it so simple to understand. And knowing that number puts a whole more realistic view of what needs to be done, and realistically we can do it. We just have to get that core of people, and like I said, we have the means. We just need to do it. Those like the marine cloud brightening, the spray vessels. I was thinking about it some more again today, and really the part that still needs some finessing is the right material and everything for the spray nozzles. I didn't realize that was as complicated. In the simple form, it's spray the salt water, but apparently there's some more technical things about that than I understood at first. But the Flettner rotors, the hydrofoils, that's all. We know that's technology. We could be making the ships already, and the spray nozzles will catch up to us. But we should already be making ships. That we know.
Absolutely, because by making the ships, then it'll just create this huge tidal wave of scientific and engineering talent coming together to collectively tinker and co-create the spray nozzles and the filtration systems and the power systems. And I love how Professor Salter had the foresight to see it in this modular way that you could remove.
That was brilliant.
Isn't that brilliant?
That with the number of pumps necessary to do the spray, there's always one that's back flushing another, so that they're always constantly maintained. It's just he's the thought of everything.
Yeah, no, brilliant dude. So anyway, and as Professor Salter says in the press conference, what he said was that there's a return on investment of about 50,000 to 1, right? And that's just an insane return on investment, right? Borderline unheard of. And so we've had some really cool conversations right after the press conference, after we stopped recording. We probably should have recorded them in hindsight, but about creating financial instruments to support this, because when there's that much gain upside, 50,000 to 1, it doesn't matter if we're only paid 1/1000th of our contribution. That's still a 50 to 1 return on investment. 50 to 1, right? But the thing is, the world's going to recognize the value that we've contributed, and they're going to pay us. So payment is not an issue. So let's get together and do this open source for starters, right? And as our numbers explode, right, and we get all kinds of disciplines, including financiers, bankers, politicians, accountants, lawyers, right, jurisprudence experts, public policy experts, right, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We'll have all marketing experts, you name it, business development experts. There's so many, just like, as this one professor at the University of California, Irvine, put it to me late on a Friday afternoon over drinks. He said, expertise exists on the head of a pin. Like you're expert at something very specific, right? Well, it takes a lot of pinheads to fill up the world. Anyway.
Nice.
But anyway, bottom line, we need everyone here. I mean, 8,000 is a lot better than 10. 80,000 will be a lot more powerful still. 800,000, you can imagine this thing just exploding, and just all this talent. Because people will be in conversations generally, but some people will be receptive to being pinged because of like I have certain unique talents. I will be pinged from time to time, and I can, maybe, hey, sorry, everyone, I got to jump to this other, because whatever the question is, I can probably answer it within a minute, right?
Right.
If it's in my area of expertise. And so as our numbers grow, the number of people who will be able to swarm around a given problem from so many different angles, right, will, that's collective intelligence right there. And at some point it crosses a threshold and becomes collective superintelligence, because it's self-aware. When I'm speaking to the whole brain, the whole network, as well as the audience beyond the network, people who are just sitting on their sofas, channel surfing, and they happen to see our broadcast. Those of us who choose to broadcast. So you have like, and I love the way Vincent has it dialed in full public. Hey, we're broadcasting to the world, to totally private, that no one even knows about it unless you're invited, kind of thing, and no, it's not recorded, et cetera, et cetera. So totally private to totally public, and myriad shades of gray in between, right? So that's all part of our our challenge, is to put this together and to attract the right number of people. And if we can do this by crossing streams with others who are basically on the same journey, this expansive journey, it doesn't matter where it happens. I even did the thought experiment. What if Umair took this idea and just ran with it and didn't invite us? Hey, who cares? I know, as long as it happens, we don't care. We'd love to be invited. Please invite us. But Umair, you've got the potential to just freaking do this, right? To bring together 8,000 people. If you have any concerns about how to, organize or architect the thing, I volunteer to help, because I've been doing nothing but thinking about this for like the last 7 years. Well, I've been doing a few other things in parallel, but I'm always thinking about this. And I think we've got it figured out. So let's do it, right? So there's Crossing Streams right there. The press conference, Crossing Streams with Dear Umair and audience, et cetera, et cetera. Crossing Streams with Our Hearts Gardens, right? Crossing Streams with Humanity Rising. Crossing Streams with, on and on and on. Let's all join together and do this, right? See, but we've been so divided. Even the progressive, most progressive amongst us, we end up in one organization or another, right? And we know how the nonprofits all, compete with each other for money, et cetera, et cetera. So it's kind of doomed to fail, that whole nonprofit sector. But if we keep this thing pure and free of money, right? And just focus on the collective intelligence, exponentiating to collective superintelligence, which will then, of course, then just impact every facet of life, right? The collective superintelligence might call attention to a certain nonprofit initiative to raise money for marine cloud brightening. So be it, let them, right? But let's have this blood-brain barrier that we don't cross, right, between the money realm and the non-money realm. You see what I'm saying? I'm saying let's let one of its founding principles be that this is not about money, and no money is exchanged, and no one is ever charged a penny for participating, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All Zoom rooms are donated. All time is donated, freely given, et cetera, et cetera. Again, we will highlight the collective intelligence, which really means individuals. At the end of the day, it's individuals, right? Opening their mouth and speaking freely, right? And then it's the whole orchestra of us. So I'm saying, let's do it. Let's keep doing it. And let's really pursue our milestone of 8,000 of us participating in a network of conversations with the intention of saving, healing, and transforming life on Earth. Let's be very intentional about that. And let's get there as soon as possible. All of us crossing our streams. Let's do it.
Yeah, there's definitely not a more important thing right now than survival, and survival for the human race and most life on the planet is headed for the oven. What choice do we have?
Yeah, exactly. And there's a lot of different initiatives that are helping out in a lot of different ways. What I'm saying, and what I think we're saying, correct me if I'm wrong, is that the facet called collective intelligence, the facet characterized by a network of conversations that's hyper connected, each with the others, right? With the intention that this scale and exponentiate with a view to getting all of humanity that's even the least bit dialed in, give them an easy on-ramp, a really easy on-ramp. The educational track, for example, as was brought up by Joan, right? For example, right? So it's ultimately anyone who even wants to, it's just there. Anyone who wants to participate, and there'll be just like hundreds of millions of us at any given moment, collectively guiding the ship. I mean, what's our business other than guiding the ship? Hey, the ship's overheating. Captain Kirk, the ship's overheating. Could you imagine Captain Kirk saying, oh, the ship's overheating. I'll deal with that in 2050. Somebody remind me in 2050 that we got to deal with that, right? My goodness, no. He'd
It's
say, get on it, team,
It's
right? And the
ridiculous.
collective, huh?
Yeah, as ridiculous as that sounds, that's exactly what we've been doing for, like 60 years. Yeah, we're in danger of losing all life on Earth. Oh, that's okay. We'll deal with it, next time, next election.
Exactly.
Just
Oh my
kick
goodness.
it on down the road. It's just crazy that we've. Yeah, it's time for everybody to get a grip.
Exactly. And we're offering one facet of getting a grip, which is the collective intelligence part, right? I mean, a real collective, a real significant number, like 8,000 of us, having on the order of 1,000 conversations in parallel, hyper connected. Everyone sees the others and is keeping tabs, right? And people can jump from conversation to conversations. Some of us are just social butterflies, right? Others of us like to stay put and really focus in. Hey, all are welcome.
Also really important here is that it's all about the boops, and that's a concept. I mean, you don't need a PhD to be brought into the fold and understand what's going on, because we've got enough PhDs and engineers, and we've got all this intelligence here that's ready to share with those with less education but not less intelligence. So and we've got the simplicity of the boops, that's so easy to understand.
It's the boops and the boats. It's the boops and the love boats. Boops and love boats, right? What are those things if not love boats? You tell me. They're lifeboats. They're lifeboats and love boats.
Yeah, the most loving boat you could want.
And so, the thing is, this is like a game of chicken between exponential global warming and the exponential growth of collective intelligence, right? Which one's going to win out? Because listen, if there were 8,000 of us tonight dialed in doing this, you know what we'd be doing? We'd create a vacuum that would suck in until we got to 80,000, right? And that 80, can you imagine when there's 80,000 of us? Just hold the phone and just imagine that for a moment. That's some heavy stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, and they'll, yeah, go ahead.
Heavy stuff, but many hands make light work of heavy stuff.
Exactly. Between the 80,000 of us, right? And it's 80,000 people who, got the signal and went for it and said, hey, I heard about you all. Can I join? Yeah, join. Wow. You know how some people kind of like watch at a distance, before they jump in? That's all fine. We need these easy, gentle on-ramps, right? So anyway, join us. Join us. Go to the conversation.cc. That always has the link to the Zoom room. So does radish.org with the block party. This room is almost 24/7. And thanks mainly to Marco. Thank you, Marco. And with other volunteers, we'll be 24/7 soon. My goodness, once there's 8,000 of us, there'll always be people keeping the campfire lit. And it'll go from being a weekly event to being an ongoing collective superintelligence that just permeates the earth. Let's do it. It's our last best hope. It's part of our last best hope. It's an essential part of our last best hope. It's not all of it, but it's an essential part. And I think it'll accelerate all the other benevolent parts, right? Because the intelligence will realize, the collective intelligence will realize where resources are needed, and it'll direct resources there. Anyway, let's do it. We can't wait any longer. We simply can't wait any longer. We need to be building those ships now. My goodness. So anyway, so let's round up the 8,000 and grow to 80,000 and 800,000 and 8 million. By the time we're 8 million, oh my goodness, those 8 million will include more mechanical engineers than you can shake a stick at. More electrical engineers than you can count on 10,000 fingers, right? I mean,
This is the, you know, the end of the world movie where everybody says it's up to us and we're going to do it and we're going to cooperate with everybody because that's the only way it should be. This is the ultimate, you know, science fiction doomsday movie in real life.
yeah.
And
You
now
know,
we just have to do it as well as the movies, you know, pull it out at the last minute.
guess what? Here, a thought just occurred to me. Imagine, Marco, if I'm not interrupting you.
Nope.
Okay,
Go.
thanks. That imagine that we have a segment on the press conference called Crossing Streams. Crossing Streams.
I
Okay.
like the sound of it already.
And everyone is, and we make sure that we prioritize anyone who RSVPs to the press conference who says Crossing Streams, because Crossing Streams means that they're bringing in a stream. They're bringing in not just themselves, but a whole community that they're inviting. Hey, 20 new people showed up, right? Remember that time when, like, I don't know, 4 or 5 of the Nova Sutras just jumped in all at once because, you know, their fearless leader had sent out an email.
Yeah.
Said, hey, I can't make this one, but this sounds super cool. Join it. Poof, a whole bunch of Nova Sutras showed up. It's just like, wow, it was like out of a sci-fi fantasy book or something. Right. That's the kind of stuff that happens when you're living into collective superintelligence. It's like we're future casting now. Can you imagine people in the future? This is being recorded. And this is associated with the press conference. It's not like this is going to be hidden somewhere. They're going to be like, wow, there's only 2 of them. That's crazy.
Well, that's another great thing about now, you know, we have wonder so much about mysteries of past civilizations that didn't make it. And we have to, you know, do a lot of guessing and hypothesizing and, you know, modeling to try and figure out what happened. This time we're providing recordings. Nobody's going to have to wonder in the future.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah. Anyway, I'm feeling complete and super excited about all this. I don't know if there's any other points we need to make other than just join us.
Yeah.
Join us.
Join the solution.
And the meta solution, that which begets and generates and fosters and nurtures the solutions, being the collective intelligence. Collective intelligence is the meta solution, right? Love boats, marine cloud brightening love boats are the solution, the physical solution, right? But I mean, just look at how this is going. It's because of the collective intelligence that marine cloud brightening is now bubbling up. I mean, marine cloud brightening just got to meet Guy McPherson. Guy McPherson just got to meet. I mean, that's this big stuff. That's a big deal, right? that had only been hypothesized about before.
Yeah,
Is your- Mhm.
who
Go
knows?
ahead.
With 8,000, maybe I can't imagine what it would be, but maybe something more efficient shows up yet.
Oh, I'm totally open to it. But you see, the bar keeps getting raised, right? With floating mirrors on the surface of the ocean, we had something that was engineering wise feasible, right? But financially totally infeasible, because it would have cost probably trillions of dollars, and marketing wise very challenged, because what about the sea life, what about this, what about that, right? They imagine you anyway. Yeah. Bottom line, marine cloud brightening, it's economically just insanely Professor Salter said it well when he said that the cost is approximately zero, because it's only a few $billion, which is just rounding error, right? Anyway, so I mean, so there's such good news. Take that piece of good news, that it's essential. The solution is essentially free, and we can easily raise a few billion, right, to make it happen. Okay. And the good news that we're almost there in terms of an exponential rise towards collective superintelligence, right? This bodes well, Marco.
Yes, it does.
Those two coming together, that really bodes well, because what we're going to do, I foresee, we're going to cool the planet very quickly. Now, we've still got a lot of whiplash issues to deal with, to say the least. But again, you've got the collective superintelligence working on all those holistically and simultaneously and at the same time.
Yeah, just to this is perhaps that one thing that we needed to finally put people in the position where we understand that there's so many better things we can do working together rather than warring each other.
Well, in a way, Marco, we're the fulfillment of so many science fiction writers' fantasy that humanity would finally unite when we were attacked by a common enemy, like some alien or something was threatening the whole planet. Then all of humanity got together, and wow, right? Guess what? We now have the common enemy, right? It's called heat. It's the heat, stupid, and it's measured in boops, and 137 boops are getting trapped in the Earth system that should have been gone. They should have been gone, right? Long ago, far away. They should have been gone, but they ain't gone. They're getting trapped and trapped. 137 per year. Boops are getting trapped. Oh my God. Listen, if you had told me that 10 boops per year were getting trapped, I'd say, whoa, 137? And that's based on NASA's estimates of the amount of heat accumulation, which are conservative by nature, being a part of the federal government. That's NASA's estimates. Take Guy McPherson's estimates and you multiply that puppy, right? In any case, we need to talk boops. So we've got the thing that, listen to this, the boopage and the heat is pretty much the one thing that's affecting all of humanity, not uniformly in terms of this year, next year, but on a scale of 10 years, it's going to uniformly wipe us out. Bill Gates and family, do you really want to be in some bunker eating canned peaches or something fancier, since you can afford it? Or I don't know, Elon orbiting Mars looking for a safe place to land. I mean, look, it's going to affect all of us. no one's going to get out of this scot-free. And in fact, far worse than that. Being trapped in a bunker is worse, is a form of death. You're basically buried alive, right? So it's the one thing that's affecting us kind of uniformly. You know, if you don't worry about the last 10 years, who fell off the cliff first, second, third, but within a decade, we all fell off the cliff. That's uniformly bad for all of us. Oh, but someone got pushed off first, and that wasn't fair for the person who got pushed off, after 7 years or what. Okay. All right. I think we got bigger fish to fry, like saving life on Earth. Right. That was a vegan fish, by the way.
I think for anybody that's contemplating, preppers and the Bill Gateses and thinking that they'll stick things out in a bunker till the planet recovers. Just think about how hard the lockdown from COVID has been for people to deal with. Then try and imagine being in a bunker where you don't even get to go out ever for maybe months or years. I don't see many people surviving that mentally. Yeah.
Yeah, it's absurd. But here's the thing. Rather than like putting any kind of focus at all on, say, Bill Gates, right? Rather than put focus on him, what if we had a very gentle on-ramp that he could just like poke his nose in, right? I almost got Bill to come to this really cool event that was like a real-time collective intelligence called the Mashup Day. And we would go late into the night, and we did it at the big cafeteria closest to Bill Gates' office, just coincidentally. So it would have been super easy for him to just pop in, right? But I didn't go the last mile and actually go up to him and say, hey, Bill, we really need you here, right? I didn't do that. And that was a missed opportunity. I'm not into missing opportunities like that anymore. So we'll invite people, just, hey, come check it out. But here's the cool thing, because of, listen to this, you want to get tech billionaires in here? You know how you do that? You come up with something super cool, so cool they can't ignore it. This is that collective intelligence on an exponential tear towards collective super intelligence. That'll get every techie excited. They'll come learn about it. They'll learn about the boops. There ain't no ignoring the boops here, right? And they'll basically get it. So you want tech billionaires? We'll get every last one in the conversation, right? So we'll have the money to fund all this stuff. Which stuff? The right stuff. How will we know what the right stuff is? It'll bubble up. It'll bubble to the top. How could it not bubble to the top in this atmosphere of total transparency, no money, pure camaraderie, working together with the best of intentions, right? Learning from each other. And, what more could we ask for to combat that which we need to combat?
Yeah.
We need it.
I keep falling back thinking about all the, the countless sci-fi movies and books where, with the theme of, ending life, and people pull together and pull it out at the last minute. This is being in the real life thing. Does it get any better than that? This is
well, see, that's where we are right now. We're within months of freaking losing the last tipping point that we simply once we cross that one, it's really hard to envision. It's not impossible to envision a coming back from that. It's just hard to. But here's the thing, because so imagine, I've talked about going from 8,000 to 80,000 in a week, and then from 80,000 to 800,000 in a week, and that sounds aggressive. But look, as more and more of humanity really get the signal, right, that this is the real deal, and this is not a drill, and this is not something that's going to happen in 2050 or 2100, if at all. No, this is actually happening this summer. When enough people get that message, okay, this thing will grow exponentially. And again, I don't care where it starts. I don't care if America goes and does it and doesn't invite us. The point is that it happened. And I'm really not attached to where it happens or under what umbrella or whatever, right?
We'll know, how it came about.
Well, yeah, but again, who cares how it came? The point is that it come about, that collective intelligence be manifested in such a way that it can grow exponentially to cross whatever threshold defines collective superintelligence. And we'll go bashing through that on our exponential tear, right? That'll be like Roadrunner going beep beep. It's not like we're going to stop there right at the boundary between collective intelligence and collective superintelligence and explore the bound. No, we're just going to zoom deep into collective superintelligence. And the faster it grows, the faster it accelerates, and the faster it accelerates, the faster it triple accelerates, and so on. Right? I mean, it's what Ray Kurzweil predicted. And I learned about this from Ray Kurzweil when he visited Microsoft in 2005. Here we are 16 years later. It's absolutely ripe for it. Ray will learn about it. All these techno geeks, billionaires will learn about it. So the money will be there. It'll be right there in the conversation. What more can we ask for? We got to do it. So let's get to 8,000 as quickly as possible. Bring your streams, bring them to the segment called Crossing Streams at the press conference.
Nice. Get her done.
Get her done. All righty. I'm gonna pause recording. All right. Well, I think we're pretty much there, Marco. What do you think?
I think we are. I think we're at that place where it's time to wrap and get some rest and start fresh.
Awesome.
Hey.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Marco. Thanks so much, Shannon and Joan and Jimena, who were with us earlier. Thank you all so much. And a very good night to all. We'll see you next time.